Welcome to the Retro Lobby, where the art of poetry and intelligence has survived. Hello everyone, and today in the Retro Lobby I'm going to read another poem to you guys from my book, Through the Silent Caldera, and it's called Fermenting Fusion. I wrote it years ago, but it's still relevant today. Fermenting Fusion. Illuminate the candles throughout the domicile, gently flick every switch off that could consummate the gloom. Ignite the incense that will nurture the carnivorous frenzy, coddle the feverish passion in a cold black pot, bruising the marred man to sobriety, hypnotizing the heretic in all of us. Now, when I was growing up, certain subjects were very taboo where I come from, because I grew up in a little town in the South, in the Panhandle of Florida. And at the time I was growing up, AIDS had just came out, and a lot of people didn't want to talk about it. A lot of people didn't want to deal with it. A lot of people said, oh, it's just, it's a gay person's disease. A lot of homophobic people were just ignoring the fact that, people were dying like flies everywhere. So I had this professor one time. Well, he wasn't a professor, he was a teacher at the high school I went to, and he was into history. He was a history teacher, and he was up on these current events. And every day, what's the current event, blah, 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 and I didn't mind him. He was a good teacher, but at the time, I didn't give a damn about history. What I cared about, though, was what was happening in the AIDS community with there not being a cure. That's what I cared about. And I would always read Spin magazine, and for all of you who don't know, I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and I finished high school in 1991. So I've been reading Spin magazine, and back then Spin magazine, they actually brought you the news. They brought you music and news, and that's what I like to read. And where I come from, there was no internet back then. You literally had to read magazines or newspapers, to find out what was going on, really, seriously, or watch the news, the TV. And so I was reading Spin magazine, and AZT was passed by the FDA, and they still do this to this day. The FDA, which is the government, for all of you who don't know, in the U.S., they will pass a drug that has not been tested properly on humans, and that will cause people to die, and that's called population control. But they rushed this drug out, AZT. Well, I had read the article, and I was so pissed off that they were going to allow this drug to be out on the market. And at the time, when it first came out, such a dangerous drug. I mean, it was causing people with more lung infections and all this crazy stuff. And so I was in class that one day, and for the first time ever, I raised my hand, and I'm not the type of person to talk a lot. I don't talk a lot, and I didn't in school either, but I was really pissed off that, I'm not going to say his name, but the teacher didn't, say anything about the AZT, and the government that had, our government, U.S. government, passed it without proper testing. So I raised my hand, and I said, yeah, you missed a current event. And he looked at me, and he said, what? Because, I never talked in class, and he thought it was really odd and kind of crazy I was even talking in the first place. So anyway, I said, Mr. So-and-so, do you realize that the government just passed AZT? It's a drug for AIDS patients. It hasn't been properly tested, and our government, the FDA, just passed it. And it kills more people than it does good right now. It just kills people. And this poor man, oh my God, he looked at me. He was completely mortified, and because I grew up in a southern town, a very small southern town. The poor man was mortified, and he just looked at me like, no, I wasn't aware of that. And I think he said, no, I wasn't aware of that. And then he kind of blew me off, and then I raised my hand again. I said, do you think that's right? Do you think that's right? Our government is passing a drug that will kill so many people. Do you think that's right? And he just kind of blew me off again. And I understand why he did, because he thought I was showing him up, and I actually knew news that he had no idea what was going on. He did not know about it. So I wasn't trying to show up my teacher by any means. I was just trying to make him aware of something that was going on. in our country that needed attention, and everybody needed to know about it. But now, now AZT is a great drug, and it helps people, and it keeps people alive a lot longer, thank God. And thank God they worked all the kinks out. So the last line of this, of my poem, Fermenting Fusion, Bruising the Modern Man to Sobriety, Hypnotizing the Heretic in All of Us. It means, everybody needs to wake up. And I think we're doing a great job of that right now. We've seen our government fail. And we are trying to become more sustainable as a community. I think we need to do a lot more. I think there are people right now living out in tents and really cold areas too. Like, where is it? Oh yes, in Michigan. I watched a documentary on that. We are falling apart as a nation. And interestingly enough, I looked up, to see where we were on the richest countries in the world. I just looked this up to see, God, if we were even on the list anymore. And the U.S. is number 6. So we have really dropped. We're not helping our people like we should. New Orleans and Katrina was evidence of that. So if you can become more sustainable, if you can help people build cob houses, do so. If you're in a very cold climate, those are better for that. And if we can all build earth ships and recycle and help one another and grow our own food, I think everything will start to get better. But and that goes for me and my daughters as well. So when I was growing up, my dad, he always hunted, and so some people might get upset about that, but he always hunted. We always had venison, we always had deer meat, we always had turkey. Very rarely did we eat beef. I mean, my dad hunted, he worked his butt off, and then he went hunting and gardened big giant gardens for us. So really, honestly, I was raised organically, and I didn't even know what that meant at the time. Now I do. But and you know what, my health didn't really get bad until really my early 20s. It didn't get bad. My health was fine now. So my health went to crap. So eat organically if you can. Grow your own food. If you're in an apartment, you can do it in the windows. They have kits for that. What is it called? I know it's used for pot, but now it's used for other things. Oh my God. Oh, come on. What is it? See, I forget things sometimes. Hydroponic. Yes, you can grow your own food in your windows now with this great hydroponic kit. Not for pot, it's, grow food and whatnot. So, but they're doing that in New York City, and they're doing all these great, wonderful things. And they're even in India and other places, they're even building houses, plastic bottles, even here in the United States with earth ships. So, do as you can, become as sustainable as you can, and help everyone whenever you get a chance, no matter if it's something little or not. And I love you all, and let's be thankful we're all waking up, and we're going to have a better society soon. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and thanks for watching my poetry. It means a lot to me. Oh, yes. What I've decided to do with my book, Through the Silent Caldera. See, I'm filming backwards. I've decided to either read a quarter or 50% online. 50% means I'll be doing 51 more videos. So, plus my quotes of the extraordinary. So, and I am working on one right now with a collage, but I have to get some ink cartridges and stuff, and maybe a new printer, maybe a laser one, because if I really want to make it last, I need a laser printer. So anyway, love you all. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and blessings to you. Bye.